Hello, it's Dranka here. I'm back, and today's video is gonna go over the toughness stat, which is a new thing that Blizzard introduced season 11. It's caused some amount of confusion, and some of that is maybe people not fully understanding what goes into it and what doesn't go into it, and some of that is also some confusion by Blizz too, right? So Blizz has given some recommended toughness numbers for people to consider going into like Pit 1 or Torment 4 even, and those numbers are kind of too low actually, and people are dying, and that's the problem, especially if you're going to play hardcore, because you really can't afford to die. So note, for example, that right now my stat sheet says I have a toughness of 90k. According to Blizzard, 35k is enough to go to Torment 4, and I'm only in Torment 2 right now. So I'm in Torment 2. I'm not even going to Torment 4, even though I'm pretty sure that I can comfortably run Torment 3 right now. I'm just taking things slow, not pushing a lot. My Paragon's 127, so right now I feel like I'm ready to get there. And before I get there, there's one more change I want to make. And before that though, let me explain to you a little bit what is in toughness and what is not in toughness. So toughness is broken down here, and you can see the different toughnesses it shows you for the 6 different damage types. So my cold resistance, which is the highest, is 110, and my lowest, which is physical, is 83. So how does that come around? The way to see this is on this sheet, which tells me, according to Blizzard, how much damage reduction I get on each of these damage types. Now this damage reduction that's shown here comes only from armor and the resistances. Okay, so my armor is pretty big. It's like 80k right now. Sorry, it's like 80%, 32k, and it's an 80% reduction. And my physical resistance is essentially a 51% reduction. So that means if I get hit for 1000, I get an 80% reduction on armor that pulls it down to 200, and then I get another 50% from physicals that pulls it down to 100. So 1000 hit between these two, it's just a physical 1000 hit, will come down to 100. And that's like 90%. That's exactly what sort of shows up here under the physical reduction, where I get something very close to 90%. Now there's one thing that's also being calculated here that's not showing up, because my max life is only 5500. So if this toughness is trying to tell you how much of a hit you can take before dying, it should really just be 55k, right? So, and what's boosting this further is that I have just some simple damage reduction. My damage reduction is shown in the defense. Here I have a 35% damage reduction that's coming all from this big beefy shield, and because of the 35% damage reduction, my toughness essentially goes up by a pretty large amount. So math is not very clear, but it's like you get hit for 1000, I take 100 just through the physical reduction and the armor, and then that comes down by another 35 because of my overall damage reduction to give me only 65. So 1000 hit drops me to 65. That's why I think if you do the math with life of 5.5k, you can afford to take a physical hit of 84k and live, which is not bad. So that's what toughness is telling. What toughness is not telling you, however, there's a few things it's not telling you, and it's good to be aware of those. It's not telling you the block chance or the block damage reduction, which can be quite important on a Paladin and some other classes like a Necromancer. Not that many people play the other classes, but so block chance is very important if you're playing a Paladin. Remember, block chance does not go into toughness. Another thing it doesn't tell you is your situational defenses. So here I'm running Helm of Might, and what it does is whenever I cast a basic skill, I get a 20% damage reduction for 8.5 seconds. This sometimes comes on, sometimes comes off. Because of that, it's not in your in-town toughness calculation. If you're in combat and you're using this, you will see the toughness go up, and that's coming through this. And then there's another defense here, which is that I'm also playing Clash. and Shield Bash, both of which give me Resolve. And Resolve basically gives me 20% damage reduction. So we'll see how these two in operation when we just kind of walk out the town and go and kill a little few demons. It's a little good girl going to kill some demons. And see what happens. Okay, there you go, demon dead. Just a beautiful basic skill, just to make sure. And toughness is now 183. See, whew, my toughness just doubled. And that is coming mainly from Resolve, which is doing a big damage reduction. And the other thing, which just faded away, the Might. So between Resolve and Might, my toughness essentially doubles, which is great. I mean, you exactly want that, but you do have to be careful and aware that those things are getting triggered off of certain skills. If you don't have the skills, you're not using them. And often enough in combat, I won't use the basic skill unless I feel it's necessary. So my real toughness depends exactly on how I play. It's important to keep in mind. If you want to play defensively, make sure to actually use the skills that give you the defense. So that's basically toughness. And now we'll see how we can boost it by changing an aspect, and especially because the Paladin has this completely OP legendary node called Castle, and it just means that armor maps to damage. Right now it's like 582, 88. I'm gonna go and try and increase my armor by changing the legendary aspect on my pants. And which one am I gonna pick? I'm gonna pick the one that gives me this, which basically says I get from, this is still on max, but it'll give me 120% armor based on my block chance, and I have, you know, a good enough block chance that this is a 70% increase in armor. My armor right now is about 30k, and we will see. Okay, close that. Once this hits, what's gonna happen to my armor? Well, hopefully it should go up. My armor has gone up to 69%. Somehow it does not show up on the stat sheet. Now why is that? Okay, now that one's a little puzzling to me. It's gain up to armor based on your block chance. Let's just go out into the wild and see if that shows up in the when I'm in combat. Okay, here we go. Look for something. Okay, let's get a few things. Yep, now my toughness has gone up to 200k, which is still completely sure what all of that is happening. See, toughness going up depending on. Oof, just ate a poison, which is gotta be careful. This is Torment 2, so I can eat it, but higher Torment, so I'm gonna pay the price for that. Let's see if I can get my armor up to see how. Yeah, my armor is now 47k. So in combat, my armor goes from 30 to 47k, and that is gonna be a big boost to my damage. Actually, it's not easy to believe because my damage keys off the armor. So it doesn't change the damage reduction very much because the decreasing returns to decreasing returns. But if we go here, what you see is that the castle damage has gone up by 50%. Bonus was 560, now it's like 850. So this is just super OP. Can you imagine one legendary node is giving me 800% damage? So now my Divine Lance is now hitting for like 1,000,000 and like 5,000,000 burst damage. This is insane. I mean, I'm like totally just joking and hanging around on Torment 2 with this setup right now. Okay. So I'm gonna go run hit or two just to try. I'm playing this cell phone, so I haven't unlocked anything. I'm not relying on my friends to unlock anything. 30 is the highest I have. That is where we're gonna run. Let's see how this goes. Okay, there we go. All things are dying for sure. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna have to fight Belial or not. I'd rather not sometimes, especially it's a paramedic. Sometimes I don't have a choice of fighting Belial or not. Yeah, the way this build is set up, it's just like a lot of arbiter action and ooh, I have to avoid those swords. Those swords are kind of nasty. So it's just good practice, remember? It's like you don't want to get into the habit of eating stuff. Yeah, this game's kind of dangerous. Yep, see, 1 minute round for the first, so that's I mean, this should be essentially a pretty straightforward run. Multiple swords, there we go. Just avoid them. You really do need mobility skills here. Steroids. This is a lot of damage. I did not have my barbs doing, you know, this kind of damage while the barb was only in Torment 2. This build isn't even really particularly set up. I mean, I'm still kind of mucking around. You know, half the gear isn't sanctified. So it goes to show just, yeah. I mean, but it is a little bit of the nature of Diablo too, right? You're OP until you're not OP, so at some point this will stop. Oh, more swords. This I can manage to avoid a lot of the Belials, so hopefully I want to deal with that mess. Either way, yeah, in terms of how I should put the damage on the screen, I turn the crit damage off and just show the basic damage, and then just have the OP, overpower damage show up and then into. I don't want too many numbers on the screen. Otherwise you'll see even bigger numbers if the crits start showing up here. Maybe I should just put in the crit numbers on too, just to get a flavor of how much damage this is doing. Okay, well, 1 minute through the first round isn't translating completely into the second round. So, yep. It's 3 minutes to the Guardian. It's the usual time it takes me. Yeah, good lord. Whew.
Too easy for warriors like us.
Yeah, right, kinda got it right. That was kinda not too bad. Okay, now I got 35. I'll just go upgrade. I should just upgrade my better glyphs. My glyphs also lame, to be honest. Well, it's time to go. But as you can see, boys and girls, this build is humming along, and I'm gonna try and push to tier Torment 3 pretty easily. I think the damage and the defenses are totally there, and I hope you found it useful and hope you learned something about what the toughness stat is, what it is not, and how you can beef it up and use that to push your tune. Good luck, have fun, and stay safe, please.